The Indian community in the UK is facing a harsh reality. A nationwide crackdown on immigration is hitting Indian restaurants and migrant-run businesses. Recent raids have led to widespread arrests and deportations, and many of those affected are Indian nationals. At the same time, the government is rolling out sweeping changes to the immigration system that will make it significantly more difficult for Indian citizens to work, study, or settle in the UK.
Blitz is underway. The government is cracking down on illegal immigrants. There are widespread raids and arrests at warehouses, car washes, vape shops and restaurants. In fact, the immigrant enforcement there, they raided 828 premises, including an Indian restaurant. What does this mean for the country and the immigrants there? Why are they being deported in droves now, and how many Indians are living in the UK illegally?
Together, these actions reveal a striking shift in attitude toward Indian migrants, pushing many to consider leaving the country altogether. So, what's really happening here? Why does it suddenly feel like the UK no longer wants Indian migrants? Today, we're going to break this down, rule by rule. We'll explain how the dream of building a life in the UK is being dismantled for so many, and we'll explore the striking contradiction of a government that celebrates a major trade deal with India, while at the same time pushing its people away. It all began with a new white paper from the government, a formal policy document with a blunt title, Restoring Control over the Immigration System. This wasn't about making small adjustments, it was a complete overhaul, designed with one clear goal in mind: to cut migration and to cut it fast. One of the biggest changes is the redefinition of what it means to be a skilled worker. In the past, this route was open to a broad range of professions, covering jobs that required specialized training that not necessarily a university degree. That door has now been slammed shut. The bar has been raised so that only roles requiring graduate level qualifications are eligible. This single change has devastating consequences. Talented chefs who have made Indian cuisine a beloved part of British culture will suddenly be ineligible. Unless their employer can prove to the Home Office that a head chef role requires a degree-level intellect, they can no longer get a visa. The same goes for many roles in IT, hospitality, and skilled trades that don't typically require a degree. Almost overnight, the pool of eligible jobs has shrunk dramatically. Another major blow has landed in the health and care sector. The visa route for social care workers, once a lifeline for many, is being closed to new overseas applicants. This is monumental, given that both the NHS and private care providers have been struggling with severe staff shortages and have relied heavily on workers from India. It was seen as one of the most stable, accessible, and noble paths into the UK. But now, for anyone hoping to come and work in care, that pathway is a dead end. And then there's the most psychologically crushing change: settlement. For most migrants, the ultimate goal has always been indefinite leave to remain the point when you're no longer temporary and can truly call the UK home. For years, that journey took half a decade. Now, it has been doubled. Migrants must live in the UK for twice as long, constantly renewing visas, paying fees, and living with the anxiety that their status could be revoked at any moment. For many, this makes long-term planning, buying a house, starting a family, or fully integrating into society feel impossible. On top of this, the financial barriers are being raised to almost unreachable heights. The minimum salary requirement for a skilled worker visa has been pushed far beyond what many businesses outside of London can realistically offer. This effectively locks out graduates, junior roles, and workers in the creative or charity sectors. At the same time, fees for employers who sponsor foreign workers have been increased, and additional taxes are being piled on. For many companies, the extra costs and red tape simply aren't worth it, meaning fewer opportunities for Indian applicants. Even students, once seen as the heart of the UK-India relationship, are being targeted. The graduate visa, which allowed international students to stay and work after completing their studies, is being cut short. This puts enormous pressure on new graduates who are now forced to scramble for a sponsoring employer almost immediately after finishing their exams, an employer who must also meet the new salary and skill thresholds. Put all these changes together and the message is clear. The UK's legal immigration system is being deliberately re-engineered, to deter and exclude all but the highest earning, most senior level migrants. And we're already seeing the consequences. More and more Indian nationals are choosing to leave the UK, and many who once dreamed of building a future here now see that dream slipping away. But here's where the story gets truly bizarre. At the exact same time as the government is tightening its grip on immigration, it is celebrating a new free trade agreement with India. This deal is designed to boost trade, cap taxes on goods, and strengthen economic ties. But buried within it is a controversial clause: special treatment for Indian workers transferred within large multinational companies. This select group will be exempt from certain taxes, giving them a privilege that ordinary migrants, including doctors, engineers, chefs, and care workers, will never see. Critics say this creates a two-tier system, rolling out the red carpet for corporate transfers while shutting the door on ordinary Indian migrants. It sends a cynical message that the UK is open for Indian business, but closed to Indian people. But it wants access to India's vast consumer market, but is turning its back on the very individuals who form the living bridge between the two nations. So when we ask the question, does the UK still want Indian migrants? The answer is written in its actions. The raids, the rule changes, the doubling of settlement timelines, all of it points to a deliberate strategy of deterrence. The UK is not the same country it was for migrants even a short time ago. For millions of Indians who saw their future here, that future is now deeply uncertain. This is a complex, emotional, and urgent issue. If you're an Indian student or worker in the UK, how have these changes affected you and your family? Are you considering leaving? Share your experiences in the comments. We need to hear your voice. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more in-depth analysis, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you next time.